The House of Kuru, Part 2, Chapter 38. Panchali'S Swayamvara. Tensions rise. The task of the contest sounded astoundingly simple. Lift a heavy bow, string it with 32 steel bowstrings, and shoot a moving target while looking at its reflection in a small man-made pond. Yet, it involved superhuman effort. When the task was first spoken of, all the kings and princes jeered and thought they had already won the princess of Panchala. As each king now struggled to even lift the bow of the contest, their enthusiasm significantly dwindled. Some managed to lift the bow, but as they strung the first or second string, the bow simply blasted out of their hands and slammed to the ground with a loud steel bang which reverberated throughout the amphitheater. Initially, as each king failed, the crowd and members would roar into laughter and jeering. However, as it became obvious that this was no ordinary feat, each time a king successfully lifted the bow or strung one of its strings, loud cheers began to erupt from the hall. After several kings and houses had attempted, the House of Kuru was called. Suyodhana, dressed in majestic silken green robes, strutted to the altar where the bow was lifted. Miraculously, the son of Dhritarashtra managed to lift the bow, and he even started to string it. As he got past the 8th string, gasps and sounds of cheers began spreading across the hall. After the 10th steel bowstring was strung onto the bow, Suyodhana's bravado took the better of him, and he gave a loud exclamation and stole a look at Panchali, who was looking with great interest at the contestant. He felt as though he had already won, and stylishly spun the bow on its axis while he picked up another 10 steel bowstrings. Unfortunately, however, this caused some of the strings to come undone, and the bow snapped back into its usual shape as a series of loud jeers and boos echoed the hall. A devastated Suyodhana left the center of the amphitheater and sat back on his seat looking defeated. Soon, all the sons of Dhritarashtra gave their attempt. With the exception of Yuyutsu and Vikarna, none of them could even lift the bow, and both Vikarna and Yuyutsu barely managed to string 1 or 2 bowstrings when the bow snapped back into its original shape. The tension in the amphitheater began to rise as kings had their ambitions cooled, and their crowns and garlands began to loosen with sweat and anticipation. With their hopes of winning the beautiful Panchali dwindling, each king looked as though he had been cheated or scammed. As many great kings tried and failed to either string the steel bow or to even lift it, many people were beginning to think this was an unwinnable contest. The tension and confusion steadily rose, and the sons of Pandu had small smirks on their faces. They were confident in Arjuna's ability. "Are you sure, son of Indra, that this feat is achievable by you? Great kings with powerful arms, famed for archery, have failed. This is by no means an easy task," said Yudhishthira. "Dear brother, this is a feat of archery which only a man with the right upper body strength, focus, and training can win. I am certain of my ability to succeed. Fear not," assured the mighty bowman Arjuna. Just as he assured his older brother, another man arrived unannounced into the amphitheater. He was clad in golden armor with droplet earrings and a flowing red cape behind him. He looked as majestic as the early morning sunrise, with a reddish hue on his skin tone. he marched directly to the amphitheater. Every king and prince in the arena knew his name, for he was none other than the well-famed bowman Karna, the one who equaled the young prince Arjuna in each and every task he performed in the tournament of arms. The moment he stepped into the amphitheater, a hush filled the entire arena. The kings and princes were convinced that he would not be able to just string the bow, but to also hit the moving target while looking only at its reflection. Now Arjuna was worried. He had a worried look on his face, and Yudhishthira was a keen reader of faces. He had an uncanny ability to read the minds of his brothers or mother by simply seeing their faces. "Do you think Karna will win this contest, brother?" asked the firstborn son of Pandu, as Arjuna's face now had obvious signs of concern, and he gave Yudhishthira what looked like an unmistakable nod. Karna silently approached the altar at the center of the arena and folded his palms as he closed his eyes facing the sun god Surya, and then looked at Panchali and gave a wide smile. The silence that filled the amphitheater was so deep that a pin could be heard if it was dropped. Karna lifted the bow with one hand and began tying the bowstrings one by one with the other, all the while holding the steel bow firmly, much to the loud gasps of the crowd. Panchali's face had both confusion and concern, for she had heard of Karna and his capacity on the bow. She stole a look at the dark-skinned, blue-hued man with a peacock feather on his head, seated right opposite her, and the man mouthed something inaudible to the rest of the crowd, but Yudhishthira observed that it created a huge fright in Panchali. Karna had now strung 20 steel strings on the large bow, and while holding the bow with his left hand, he grabbed the next 10 strings and began to effortlessly tie them. With the might of his arms, the bow completely rounded its edges, and there was a strong tension on the center of the bow, allowing it to become a powerful weapon for archery. Sweat trickled down the side of Panchali's forehead at the same time as it trickled down her father Drupada's forehead. The mighty warrior Karna, student of Bhargavarama, fully tied the 32 steel bowstrings on the steel bow and showed it to a large crowd of men, kings and princes, some of whom were cheering, and this included Suyodhana, while others had unsettled looks on their faces, and this obviously included the Pandavas. The son of Surya, the sun god, knelt down on one knee and looked carefully at the Matsya Yantra from the reflection on the pond of still water. The yantra was on top of the amphitheater, which had 2 fishes spinning in opposite directions, and in each rotation, the eye on the top fish perfectly superimposed itself on the eye of the bottom fish. After a while of looking at the reflection of his target, the Matsya Yantra appeared on the eyeballs of Karna as he reached a form of peak focus, and with tremendous strength he pulled hard on the bowstring with the arrow carefully attached to it. "Stop!" shrieked a loud voice from the center of the amphitheater, and Karna's attention and focus was shattered. "I will not have the son of a charioteer as my lord," yelled the Princess Panchali, and there were groans and moans from one corner of the assembly, while there were loud cheers and jeers from the other. Eventually, everyone in the arena joined the jeers, taunts, and humiliation as Karna stood rooted on the spot, unable to move from a mixture of shame, guilt, and confusion. Finally, he too joined the jeers and laughed at himself stupidly, while casting a glance at the sun as he flung the steel bow from his hand and it slammed hard on the ground to hear a large, reverberating thud echoing throughout the arena. With his head held low, Karna mournfully marched slowly out of the arena, and as he did, his best friend and ally Suyodhana rushed up to him and grabbed both his shoulders. Karna's eyes were red and drenched in tears. "I am so sorry, my friend. I am so sorry once more for failing you. I could not stand up for you in the throne of Hastinapura as an illegitimate son of a charioteer, and today I fail you once more. Forgive me," finished the son of Surya, the sun god. And Suyodhana embraced him tightly. "There is no failure, my friend, only corrupt people," remarked the firstborn son of Dhritarashtra. "Come and sit next to me. This time you will not leave the arena. I want the people to know that you are the king of Angadesha," said Suyodhana, as Sushasana quickly got up and offered his seat. Karna, though reluctant, could not refuse Suyodhana, and he joined his seat. "Is this virtue? Is this how the land of Panchala determines merit? This man is Angaraj, Karna, the king of Angadesha. He is the most worthy of Panchali's hand. He fulfilled every aspect of the contest and would have won, yet the land of Panchala values blood over merit," roared the firstborn son of Suyodhana as Bhishma rolled his eyes and Guru Drona shook his head. "The contest of kings is for men with royal lineage. The son of a charioteer has no house, no princely lineage, nor is he of fame at birth. Finally, my sister's decision carries the most weight. Karna is thus disqualified," roared Drishtadhyumna. But Suyodhana would not relent. "Cowards! Cowards value blood over talent. The house of Panchala is known for coward enough. Royalty has etiquette requirements," interjected Drishtadhyumna. "Who is the father of Karna? All we know is that a charioteer adopted him as his own son. Is he the abandoned son of a courtesan? How will I allow my sister to marry him, especially when she is unwilling to do so? Fool! Learn the ways of kings before calling out insults," roared the fire-born son of Drupada. And Drupada, the king of Panchala, had his face swelled with pride over his son's charisma. Suyodhana's fury grew and grew, and his face turned red in anger as he shot up. "He is the king of Angadesha, the Raja of a donated kingdom, but that does not make him a king. Perhaps for the house of Kuru, vagabonds and street urchins make good kings, but not for the house of Panchala," interrupted Drishtadhyumna once more, and Suyodhana was about to argue, but someone pulled hard on his palm. Suyodhana turned to see Karna shaking his head. Please, my friend, leave it. I beg you. I cannot bear these insults, this fate. Please, let me bear it," said Karna, and Suyodhana once more embraced him. "You will have your vengeance. I assure you, my friend. Vengeance will be yours. One day, I promise you, that arrogant princess will be humbled," whispered Suyodhana into Karna's ears. Karna, throat too tight to speak, just nodded and sat back down. "Dear brother, now I tell you, we have certainly won," said Arjuna. And Yudhishthira, now looking at his third brother, and noticed that Arjuna had a wide smile etched across his face. "The importance of a house is so great that it even trumps merit?" asked Janamejaya. And the Rajaguru Vaishampayana looked visibly uncomfortable. "Dear king, this is a capricious situation. The Princess Panchali is of determined royal lineage with an undeniable bloodline. The ways of kings determine that the house must be honored. To great kings, honor carries more weight than wealth, cattle, kine, or, yes, even merit. At this time, no one knew of Karna's ancestry. What if a courtesan or harlot claimed Karna to be his son? What if Karna recognized the illegitimate birth from this courtesan or harlot after the marriage to Drupada's daughter Draupadi? I believe Panchali made the right decision given her birth and her status and her desire to fulfill her father's wish of marrying only the mighty bowman Arjuna, your great-grandfather, said Vaishampayana, and Janamejaya nodded. Yes, I see now, given the circumstances, Panchali did what she thought was best for her house, said Janamejaya. Tomorrow we will listen to the attempts of other great kings, such as Jarasandha and Shishupala, the son of Damagosha, said Vaishampayana. What of my great-grandfather? Asked Janamejaya. If you're patient, then you'll find out, said Vaishampayana.
I hope you liked today's episode of The House of Kuru. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel and like this video so that you will be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thank you.